in here. But thank you very much to Laura and Liz for providing that very needed copyright. And now what we'll try and do is juggle around the time a little bit so you still have the same opportunity for dialogue. We're going to start in here with a conversation. I'll introduce you to our colleagues in a minute, and then move into two other breakout spaces as a choice. But there's also an opportunity for those of you who need a massage. Jack has brought a massage chair, and Emma has also brought lots of different visual journals, learning journals, travel journals, with her from C. White sketchbooks to share with you. Is everyone ready? So there are two other opportunities, and we're reconvening back in here for the last 15 minutes. So people who are sharing or documenting the discussion sessions, we'll definitely have so much time, and we'll get you back in here for the final conversation. Just the key points, I think. In true spirit of 5x5, we document everything. Jack is filming. Jack is filming, and Julie's taking notes as well, so it's Claire, and each of your dialogues will be shared as well. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you James Aldridge, who's an artist who's been working with us a long time, and currently in residence with St Saviour's Nursery and Infant School. Harker is the head teacher at St Saviour's, and Gillian McFarland is a parent at St Saviour's, but also an art therapist. So,
right, hello. So what we're going to do today is to really introduce to you the work that we've been doing and try and give you analytic viewpoints on that from the different roles that we're coming to it from. Do that relatively briefly and then open it up for more discussion. Because there's three of us, we thought we can't really go in depth because use up all the time. So there's obviously a bit of a gap, and then you can sort of price out the stuff that matters that most interesting, because everyone's coming from quite different viewpoints and backgrounds. So that's the most useful. So in terms of those of you who don't know about 5x5 perspective, it would be helpful to sort of show you the shape of it really. So I've been working with St David's last year, and we'll be working with them again this year, and essentially working with them for about half a day a week for 20 sessions. And our research question was, how can we support all children to learn creatively in the outdoors? So when we say all children, we're looking at working with a focus group, at least using that learning to inform our practice with the rest of the children as well. Excellent. So in terms of who I am and where I'm coming from, I'm an artist. My practice covers quite a wide range of areas, but I'm really interested in people and places and how people perceive the world around them, and how we may learn to perceive the world in certain ways, and that influences our behaviour towards it, but how perhaps create more creative exploration of the world, which is more appropriate to our needs and interests, might give us a different way of seeing and being and acting towards the world. So when I'm coming into somewhere like St Saviour's, I'm coming in and I'm working with Tracy, who is the teacher I was working in partnership with, and we're acting to support each child within this group to explore that environment in a way that makes sense for them. So to talk about how it started in the first place, essentially I went in and asked the children to show me around, and then we provided them with different materials that were maybe appropriate to their interests. But if they're interested in recording from art making, they had those. If they're interested in defining spaces, we gave them, for instance, recycled wood and hammers, and then started to construct and change the spaces that were there. And my interest in this, if you like, in relationship to well-being is very much it's looking at the relationship of individuals to their environment, giving them an opportunity to experience themselves as an integral and continuous part of that environment. So rather than coming from the position of, if you like, we're taught about the wood, and then we go and perceive that wood from a distance in a way we've learnt about. It's about getting almost within the wood and touching it and feeling it. It's about having a creative dialogue with that place through your whole being, so your senses and your imagination all coming together, and experiencing the fact that you are an integral part of that. So it's about that reciprocity, basically. It's about the connection that Karen was talking about earlier. And I think quite often we think about, in terms of child health, perhaps the connection with their social environment, less the connection with their ecological environment. And I think if we're coming from a situation where effectively we are supported and able to to be alive by a system, then it makes sense that we are aware of that system on a day-to-day basis for our well-being. So before I hand over, it's just one little quote. I know we've got quite a lot, but this one I think fits in quite nicely that I wanted to say. So this is from a book called Eco-Psychology, and it's written by Anita Barrows. And it says, as part of the growing movement to shift the paradigm of a bounded, isolated self toward a vision of a self that is permeable, interconnected not only with human selves, but with all living beings and processes, a new theory of child development must be evolved. Such a theory must take into consideration that the infant is born not only into a social but an ecological context. It must acknowledge that from the earliest moments of life, the infant has an awareness not only of human touch, but of the breeze on her skin, variations in light and colour, temperature, texture, and sound. So,
Thank you, James. I was reflecting as I started listening to Robert and Karen, and having done lots of work over a few years with Robin on crucial C's, I was thinking about well-being. Ooh, there was a curious echo just there. And the idea of a democracy for well-being and the extent to which any school can be a democracy. I thought that's quite an interesting idea. Mentioned to James talking about how within the small group he works with, how that can establish itself as a sort of a self-regulating democracy, how that then spreads as an ethos or sort of a set of skills within the group to other people. But the difficulty of running a school of 250 children, 30 members of staff, X number of families as a democracy, and to what extent that can be a reality. Phrase I wrote down were possibly benevolent dictatorship or enlightened despotism, or something in there. And trying to make sure that where there are offers of democracy for children, they are genuine. I think it's very important. So Tracy over there, who's been working with James, is leader of our school council. So in setting it up, we wanted to make sure it was a very genuine offer, and we make clear to them the limits of their power. And how they can work within it so that they get a genuine experience of it. I think that's very important. Within Tracy's year group, the children vote. Well, they come up with possible topics to be exploring, and then they vote on which one to go for. That's democratic. We nearly ended up with World War II last year. So the extent to which a school or any large organisation can be a democracy. The question I was going to ask at the beginning was to what extent a family is a democracy. And I think that's interesting, and how power structures are a meaningful representation of something, or something has to be in charge of all those sort of ideas. So I was interested in that. Also, free thinking. I think democracy only works with a very clear sharing of information. People need to be fully informed to be able to use their vote properly. To what extent are children fully informed? Are parents fully informed? How do we empower children to ask the right questions? How do we encourage them to ask questions? And how do we help them to understand that they can expect to get a decent answer? I think that's quite tricky. Some very profound thing that I went on was a philosophy for children. I think that's a very powerful way of training children to ask good questions. How do you ask good questions? How do you listen and evaluate the answers you receive? I personally believe that if we could train everybody in philosophical and Socratic dialogue, that would be enormously helpful all the way down the years. That's a passion of mine. And then I thought, what are the threats to the crucial Cs, and which of the threats to the crucial Cs are embedded within school structures? And then equally, what supporters of the crucial Cs are embedded within the school structures? There are things that I can do as a head teacher in leading the school as an organisation to support the crucial Cs, the way we make people feel they connect, try and give the children the courage to face challenges, make sure that they feel capable, we celebrate their achievements, and to make sure they feel they count. I think these are all absolutely key things. And then the extent to which a child will find it hard to achieve well-being if the significant adults in their lives do not have well-being. How do we make sure then that the parents of the children have well-being secured? How do the staff in the school have well-being? How are they trusted? And there's a reciprocity of trust has to be established between children, parents and staff. That's key. If you have that triangle, everything falls over. And then for myself as a leader of the school education system, how is the school trusted? How is the staff trusted to be doing the job and to carry it out? And we, myself and Tracy went to Finland last year as part of the Communities Project. There the staff were enormously trusted. We asked to see some of their documentation on the children, there was none. They had folders for every child, there's nothing in them but one photograph. They were trusted, the parents dropped the children off, the children were collected, they were trusted. Finland is the model that apparently we should be following. Okay? If that's a success we should be following, something needs to change quite dramatically, because that's not where we're headed at the moment. I'll hand over to Gillian.
Well, our whole family actually had a period of change. We moved back in January. Prior to that, I was in Scotland working in child and family psychiatry as an art therapist. And in Scotland, where I worked, I had one foot in the arts and healthcare camp, and the other foot in art therapy camp. And there was a tension between the two relationships. And I was also, obviously, employed as an artist in residence as well, as part of my job even. And there was a tension between the two camps. And it was such a relief, I think, when we moved to Bath to discover infant figures and in 5 by 5, a distillation really of the two areas that I was interested in, which was the arts and healthcare, the sense of well-being that can be achieved from involvement in the arts, and the art therapy, the therapeutic, the clinical side of art therapy as well. And so it was real joy really coming down and feeling a bit disengaged and not knowing how to find my way around it, and watching a small child as well coming into school. He had been in school in Scotland 2.5 hours a day at his age in Scotland for that year. Coming down to England, he was then studying from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It was a huge upset for him. And he had been brought in his own world in Scotland. He went down to a nursery. He was outside most of the day, I have to say. We call them free range chickens. And so it was a big deal coming into the class. It was really wonderful to see when James came in. The change of room. He started being a Gurgle again, and closed off to having chatting with us. I have to say, I responded with great sort of surge of relief at finding such an organisation. I've been particularly interested in how 5 by 5 by 5 has brought together the arts, the art therapy side and the arts, into education, working in health. We work very much in the process of reflection and supervision and reflecting on practice. And it was lovely to again see that in the way that James was working on with Tracy. That there was this thought that goes very often the children as the actions and then the words. And our son, as I say, James earlier, summed it up beautifully. He's playing with the ball in a much smaller house and he doesn't get to go outside so much. He's chucking this ball around. Hit something. But when we stopped him that, he said, Mummy, when I throw it, when it lands, I get ideas. And I thought that just sums up. It's the activity and then the words and thoughts. I think that's what part of our life is in the educational setting. Really does offer a
That's probably a good point to open up, really. So what we wanted to do is just invite you to ask one of us or all of us a question, or to just raise a point you thought was relevant. Just we can open up to make it relevant to you. Has anyone got
Nothing smiles.
If not, we can talk more, but it helps to have more dialogue.
I just wondered if you talk about this Finland.
Yes, Finland.
What stages have they gone through? You can say that stuff quickly, but
I don't know how they well, no, I do partly know how they ended up. I think Jan Cornelius, who was a pioneer educator and liberal thinker to a degree, many 20 years ago, was originally invited to come to Britain to share his wonderful ideas, and because of changes in politics, ended up going north. And so we missed out. Is that fair? It's fair enough. He basically skipped Britain and ended up in Scandinavia, so they got benefits. And so Jan Cornelius had all sorts of ideas. And so there are sort of various reasons why that might have sort of something we missed out on. 5x5 takes a lot of its inspiration from Reggio Emilia in northern Italy. You can see very clear political and historical reasons why they are as they are, because they came out of World War II to turn to be anti-fascist. Parents literally building preschools with their hands, and so there are very strong political drivers in that country. And in Finland there are other political drivers. He was trying to work out why there was such trust there. I started to think maybe it's because of the very long winters. You had to really get on with the people you live nearby, because you absolutely relied on them. You wouldn't, not going back that far in Finland. These are people who, if you run out of food, you're going to die unless you get on with your neighbours. It seems to be a huge amount of trust, but it gets very political very quickly. And I can see that once trust goes, it's very hard to get it back. And I think at some stage we have lost a great deal of trust between the parents in society and schools for whatever reason. And some aspects of that loss of trust may have been deserved in some pockets. Equally, a lot of good practice was lost in that. But I recommend visiting somewhere like Finland just to see how it can be quite different. Having said that, the way they do their outdoor learning is actually quite restrictive from what we saw, and actually what James is doing and the type of outdoor learning he's doing is quite different. So when you hear about forest schools in Finland, that's quite a different thing. They're specifically being taught, there's also a scheme of work, they're being taught bird calls, types of trees, there's a whole programme of study. So that's interesting as well.
I suppose one of the questions is, how do you get the trust back?
Yeah. I think that's a lot of communication sharing and just explaining. I think we have a mission to explain what it is we're up to with parents, children, 6 hours a day.
Sorry.
Can I just ask how your project started? I mean, who got the ball rolling and how did the funds
So that's the 5x5 team having a structure whereby schools can apply to be part of it, and artists are recruited to be part of it. And so it's the structure that supports the practice.
I have to step in there and actually give that credit back to somebody else, because where's Jan? Jan, there you are. So a long time ago, Jan